Warning, the following show features commentary performed either by professionals or people dressed up and acting like professionals. Accordingly, SNH and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any commentary or activity performed on the show. What's going on, everybody? Dash Michaels here, and welcome back. It's been far too long. We are at like 6 months removed from the first season. It is season numero dos, because I am fluent in Spanish. Season 2, shorts and hoodies. We got a different feel today. We have a new team. Do you have hoodies on? Seriously? I
Yes, sir.
never wear a hoodie, even though the show's called Shorts and Hoodies.
I
Please
wouldn't admit
welcome,
that.
please welcome our brand new team. Stephanie, Jared, welcome to Shorts and Hoodies. Stephanie, tell us about yourself, girl.
About myself. Well, let's see. I'm approaching middle age. Interpret that how you will. I still have never grown up, though, even though the number of age says otherwise. I live in Minnesota, the beautiful state of Minnesota. Hashtag Lake Life. By day, I work in the software development field as a business analyst, but by night, I am a semi-professional-ish singer and somewhat musician, singing a few places around the cities. So I love movies, though, so that's my passion. I know a lot about movies and a lot about movies I've never seen. So my opinion should be really well educated today.
Awesome. Jared, what about you, my friend?
Hello, everybody from the superior Wisconsin land.
I'm not fighting
gotta
that.
gotta represent.
Better
But yeah, I'm
beer
from
and cheese.
Wisconsin. Yes, I actually worked at a cheese factory before my job that I'm at now. So I know it's very Wisconsin of me. I am also middle-aged, 34 to be exact. I am a grown adult ass man, and I'm here to give my opinion on stuff that I don't know much about. The only reason why I'm good at it is because I used to watch a lot of movies when I was deployed. So we got that. I'm here. Let's do this.
Awesome. All right, we're going to jump into it. So this week's topic is the best comic movies. So much has happened, and I'm glad that we decided to go with this topic because so much has happened just this week in movie news. It has been ridiculous. Like when we sat down last week and was going like, what are we going to talk about? And had the idea to do comic movies. Usually it's just kind of been reserved for Spider-Man news. Everybody does their videos, and we'll get to that eventually here. But it's been like every single day, it's been something, whether it's Marvel, Spider-Man, DC, it's something. And so this is a great way to kick off season 2. I'm super excited. First thing I want to talk about, Morbius trailer. We finally got a really, really good in-depth trailer last week. The biggest concern that I'm having with this, did everybody see the trailer?
I did see the trailer. There's
Yes,
a little bit of footage in this trailer that was not in the trailer we saw, a year and a half
ago. Yeah.
A year ago, something like that. So there's a few new things in there. There was still, the Adrian Toomes Vulture cameo that people went nuts over with the first trailer. But overall, not a huge change in the trailer itself. But cool to see more stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that is confusing a lot of people is, where does this take place? So we're supposed to be getting this.
When?
Yes. Both.
Yeah, that's what scares me.
So
I'm not sure where it's going.
This movie comes out in January. Mm-hmm. We're getting No Way Home in December. Mm-hmm. So there's only a month's difference. And I imagine the beginning of this whole multiverse thing is going to start happening in December. It's already started to happen with Scarlet Witch and the other shows and Loki.
And what if?
But with this, I mean, you have the one shot of Morbius walking down, like it looks like an alleyway, and you have Tobey Maguire. the Sam Raimi Spider-Man poster, like on the wall, it says murderer. You have the Oscorp logo from Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield. It's a different building, but it's the same. That's the same logo. You have Michael Keaton from MCU as Vulture returning here, and then in this newer trailer, you have a reference to Venom, which is in a different universe as well. So, did you see? Yeah. Did you see? Did you see the second Venom?
I have not yet. Nope, it's only in theaters, and I can't go to theaters right now.
Okay. Did you hear about the post-credit scenes?
No, I'm trying not to spoil it for myself.
You need to get on it because it directly relates to.
Yeah, but if we haven't seen the movie, why would we watch the post-trailer scenes? You
Look, I haven't seen Eternals yet, but I know about the post-credit scenes. So
I already got one of those spoiled. At least two of those spoiled for me now.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you. The people watching and listening, if you know, you know. But it's there's 4 different universes going on in this Morbius trailer, and so it kind of it's very confusing because one, we don't know what's going to happen in No Way Home. We don't know who's going to be in No Way Home. We have a lot of. It could be. So we can see the beginning of the Sinister Six happening here with No Way Home. But is that going to bring in? Is it going to bring in some of these other people besides just? I mean, we know Doc Ock's going to be in it. We know Goblin's going to be in it. Sandman, Electro. And the Lizard.
Do we know that Lizard's going to be in it? I didn't see anything in the poster indicating Lizard. Because there are different iterations of Sinister Six.
Right.
Sony's first attempt at doing Sinister Six, when Drew Goddard was going to write that movie, was going to be Rhino and what's the Shocker and Mysterio. No, they never did Mysterio, but Dane DeHaan's version of Green Goblin, and however that awful.
We don't count that. We don't count that movie.
Count it?
No, okay. I don't. I've never seen it, so I don't count it.
I see. I was all for it when they were going to do it for. I think they were prepping for the end of Spider-Man 2. So you saw the glass kind of vaults with Doc Ock's arms and everything, and the Vulture wings. I was super excited because I love the Amazing Spider-Man, and I love the sequel as well. His suit in the sequel is probably my favorite suit. Out of all the iterations of Spider-Man, but I'm a huge Andrew Garfield fan.
But I love Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Back to Morbius. We're not talking about Spider-Man yet.
But we are at the same time. This is one of those
But I mean. Sorry, Stephanie. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jared. You started.
Okay. So, because I read an article about how basically it almost feels like Morbius is just totally disregarding everything that's been out there. Or are we really getting this twisted universe where all of it comes into play at once, where anything and everything is possible? And that's what scares me about Morbius, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Go back to, not to bring in Spider-Man again, but the fact that Doctor Strange is going to be in No Way Home, and there's going to be this reality-bending spell that Doctor Strange casts to try to erase Peter from everybody's memory, or people knowing that Peter is Spider-Man from everybody's memory. I don't think, I would have thought it would have been confusing before Disney's What If and Loki came out, because both Loki and What If did such a great job, I think personally, of explaining what the multiverse is, what you can see in the multiverse, and then explaining the idea of the butterfly effect and how one little choice, how that affects that particular universe, that I think I'll give audiences some credit that if they do it well. So there's that, Sony, if they do it well. If they do it well, I think audiences will be able to follow that, and they will be able to understand, this is kind of different, but it's just Loki had that same thing, but it had a female Loki and a crocodile Loki and a black Loki and a kid Loki and Richard E. Grant in his spandex wonderfulness as Loki. If they can handle that, I think audiences could try to figure out where this Morbius could be. Maybe it is somewhere, because it has Adrian Toomes in it. It must be at least a couple, 3-4 years after Homecoming, because we didn't see. Did we see Vulture at the end of what was the what was the second Spider-Man movie? I can't even remember. The
I
name
think
of
he was just in jail. I think they
Just
just
in
did this.
jail.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
just in jail.
and that's where they introduced Scorpion.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So
So yeah,
audiences could do it if the filmmakers are smart enough to lay the clues out in an understandable way. I
Yeah.
think they could figure it out. Personally,
But do you guys trust Sony to do that?
I trust. Okay, ask me 5 years ago or 10 years ago. No, you can't get
No.
you can't get past 2 movies without fucking it up.
I mean, barely.
But I
one
think
movie.
with them partnering with Marvel, yes.
Kevin
I love
Feige,
Homecoming. Do what?
and Kevin Feige, we trust.
Yeah. Homecoming was great. I loved it. I loved that we didn't have to go back to an origin story yet again. Far From Home, I loved it. I got to thank Gyllenhaal though. And I think I'm really, really hoping this is going to be a great movie, and I don't want to see how it can be a great movie. Especially all the people who are possible to be tied into it.
Sure.
Just bringing back Alfred Molina and then Willem Dafoe it's just going to be amazing to see.
Well, let's go back to Morbius for a second, because so if Morbius is going to be coming out a month after Spider-Man, then I mean, the only real knock I can see for Morbius, and this used to be a knock based on movie release schedules in the past, but that the fact that it's coming out in January, where in prior years, January's kind of been the dumping ground of every studio's crap movie that they just have to release because of contractual reasons, right?
Right.
But in recent years, Deadpool came out in February, Black Panther came out in February, the start of the summer season is in March now, so maybe it'll be fine. But there's also some hesitancy around Jared Leto as an actor, and the super methodness around the way that he approaches characters, and whether that works or not. For some people, it didn't work in Suicide Squad. It worked, I think, somewhat in Blade Runner 2049, just kind of the methodology. Obviously, he's amazing in Dallas Buyers Club, as you guys know, but he's amazing in that movie. But whether or not he can actually pull off this character, he looks creepy. It's kind of good for him, for his natural features. When he morphs into Morbius and the living vampire, he looks really cool. I mean, can Sony pull off a horror, or are they going to try to pull their punches and have too much comedy in it? Are they going to re-edit it and try to Marvelize it?
I hope it's going to go the route of DC and just be dark and gritty, the way Morbius should be. Speaking of looking good, the new Spider-Man No Way Home poster. We can't get away from Spider-Man. I'm sorry.
No,
I thought you were
Not
talking
gonna
about me
happen.
for a second.
Yeah. The new
Sorry.
Spider-Man No Way Home poster was finally released. It was leaked originally, and then the next day it was confirmed. This is the poster. What are our thoughts?
Take it away, Steph. For those of you who aren't watching,
Exactly.
shrugging.
Sorry. Yeah, for the audio listeners, meh. I mean, it looks fine. The idea of action of I get the feeling that this is one panel of several panels. Like there's a full version of this poster that I think, based on some of the leaks that have happened recently, which we may or may not talk about today, the additional leaks about who may or may not be, the worst kept secret in the world about who may or may not be in this next Spider-Man movie, I think that panel might be part of a bigger picture where we might see some more action. It's just hinting at, because why is Green Goblin like way out here? Here's Green Goblin way out here in the distance. There's got to be more things in that view that we're just not seeing. They're trying to tease us.
So I take it we all saw that poster where everything was basically circled on the map with everything else that was out there, where it's just like everything is just, oh, check out this little thing and that little thing and this little thing, and it's like, dude, no, stop, just too much. Like, just calm down, give me a poster. Like
perfect mining all of our posters.
It's
Stuff. Like, this means that.
like I'm excited, but like I'm trying to stay away from all that stuff just because the way I watch movies is probably a little different than a lot of other people do. But like I just shut it off and tell me a story. That's all I care about. Like if it looks cool and flashy, great. Because the last time I noticed a detail, I got actually kind of upset about the movie. Um,
So,
I know.
let's look at this. So we can see the three, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's to me. I mean, so the Homecoming poster itself is just amazing. I love that whole. It's everything's on one side. You get everything. Far From Home's okay. It's symmetrical. Cool. I'll give it to you. It just doesn't follow the same thing, and I think that's one of the things that irks me is it doesn't follow the same formula. You know?
But if it was too formulaic, people would be like, "Oh, this is formulaic." Plus, the reason I don't like the Far From Home poster is that I wonder whether Jake Gyllenhaal has a very good chiropractor because his neck looks broken. Doesn't it? His neck
Yeah.
looks broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a spoiler for later in the movie if you think about it.
But is it though? Because the
Well, but
rumors
is
are
it?
that he's not dead.
That would be the only thing that hasn't leaked or been spoiled about this next Spider-Man movie, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I also wonder if they're
Um,
trying to. Oh, sorry, Dash. Go for it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just kind of curious if, like, with the transition, how they like it's everybody a little bit less, and it's just Spider-Man. It's his transition into being that Spider-Man. He's no longer reliant on Tony. He's no longer reliant on Nick Fury. He is now Spider-Man, and he has to take that mantle by himself. And maybe it's a coming of age tale. Who knows?
Yeah.
He's by himself. All by myself.
All right. So tomorrow is Disney Plus Day. I'm super excited because, of course, this is probably, with our luck, when Sony will drop their shit and give us, a new trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home. Not that it has anything to do with Disney, but we do get to see some. We'll probably get more footage for Hawkeye. But I'm super excited because I never made my way to theaters to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Will be on Disney Plus tomorrow. Actually, today, because today, wink wink, is Friday. Editing.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. Shang-Chi and Jungle Cruise will both be on Disney Plus tomorrow. I could give a rat's ass about Jungle Cruise.
Oh, come on. The Rock
no,
is always great.
I'm rocked out. I'm burnt out on The Rock. I do love The Rock. I do. Get Smart is one of my absolute favorite movies, not because of Steve Carell, but because of Dwayne Johnson. It's just hilarious in it. But no, I'm just so burnt out. I need a break from The Rock.
Yeah, the Rock property that I'm most excited about is Black Adam, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's Emily Blunt, Dwayne Johnson, and dad jokes. I mean, every one of those things hits a quadrant for me, so I'll watch it. But Shang-Chi, however you say it, that one I'm super looking forward to. I was bummed that I really didn't quite feel comfortable in the theaters to go see it because I love martial arts movies. I love just the whole, especially when martial arts movies go into the mindset of somebody who is a martial artist. That's my favorite part about martial arts movies. Like there's a whole discipline of the mind behind what you can do physically. I hope that this movie does it, but it'll be fun to be able to see it finally. And I know there's a few things in the movie that kind of push the universe forward and kind of change it a little bit. So that'll be really exciting.
I got to see it in theaters because my buddy Alejandro likes to rent out a movie theater for that exact reason. It's actually fairly cheap in the town that I live in. I think for like $150, you can rent out the entire theater. And so like we just get like 10 people together and boom, paid for, $15, no big deal. I will say that it's a beautiful blend of East meets West. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but like you want to talk about a good martial arts movie with a good Marvel movie, they just blended it beautifully. And like I'm not big on the mythos of martial arts because it's all martial artsy, but like when you blend things the way that Marvel can blend things, dude, it's a smoothie from heaven. So
it looked beautiful, and I mean I've been just super excited. I mean, this is going back to Iron Man. This is bringing in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin. and you heard about it, or I mean, even going back to Iron Man 1, you see the 10 rings in the background, with the Mandarin, you hear that, oh yeah, the Mandarin.
The
We like to
Mandarin. I
call him
love that guy.
the Fandarin. I loved Iron Man 3, by the way. I know it gets a lot of hate, but Iron Man 3 for me is probably my favorite of the three. But I love Guy Pearce like a lot.
Okay.
All right, cool. I get, yeah, it's been super quiet. Well, with the exception for today for DC news. So let's keep on the Marvel train. Eternals this week was pulled from theaters in the Middle East.
Did they actually pull it or did they censor it?
Yeah, no.
It was
So
pulled. It was pulled out of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar. This was coming from the Hollywood Report, all-star superhero film, due for release on the 11th, was pulled. It was quietly removed from the websites in those countries.
You quietly remove a Marvel movie.
can't
I don't know.
Quietly.
Sources suggest the decision was likely made over the inclusion of same-gender couple in the film and the MCU's first gay superhero. Homosexuality is still illegal across the Gulf, and films containing any of that are pulled from the release. Then it goes on to talk about, how Onward was banned. I don't even know what that is.
that's an animated movie with Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Oh, okay.
One regional
Stephanie,
cinema chain explained that Eternals had been banned. They just hadn't been told why there.
I'm curious to hear from Stephanie's point. When it comes to Marvel, I know that there haven't been many like love scenes or whatever. How do you feel about the whole exclusion of all that nonsense? And I mean, like now that they're deciding to show things like that in the Marvel universe, where they go with the relationships and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's I have no problem with, anything that humans actually do in real life. You show me in a movie, I have no problem with it. I have quite a few gay friends, so I have zero problem with it. But it was really interesting when I was reading about this story. Depending on which outlet, the Hollywood Reporter has its sources, and when I looked at this story overseas in overseas papers, I looked in one Indian site, which I can't remember right now. Their reporting of it was that, and this is true in a lot of those Arab countries, they ban movies or they edit movies to remove all scenes of intimacy whatsoever, because certain religious sects, they don't like to show, or they don't want to show physical intimacy on screen, even if it's heterosexual. And also movies get banned because of depiction of gods and wizardry and things like that. There's all sorts of these rules that they edit or ban movies. But Marvel, Chloe Zhao said, you're not going to edit my movie. If you're going to show it, you either show it as it is or you're just not going to show it. Marvel, to their credit, kept the vision of the person they hired to direct the movie, kept the scenes in there. The countries decided to pull them for their film standards that they have. I mean, I feel bad for the people in those countries that don't get to see the movie, that they don't get to experience, things that the rest of us do, but they have their own religious code. They have their own moral code.
Yeah.
The only reason why I ask is because I'm a dude. Like, I get it. I don't have many female friends, so I just kind of thought I'd throw it your way. See what you thought about it. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I don't mind being the token chick in this conversation.
I'm a single guy. All right. Let me just text all the girls that I'm friends with. Stephanie. There we go. We'll talk to her on Thursday.
We'll fix that. We'll fix that as the show goes on. We'll start up your Tinder profile and start helping you swipe left or right, whichever one of those is good. I have no
That's
idea.
failing miserably. We don't need to talk about that. All right.
Okay.
We don't need to talk about that. Sick to Marvel.
But it was interesting to read like other outlets saying it, not to be clickbait journalism, but yes, it's probably for the reasons related to the same-sex couple. But the fact that, I did a fun little list of movies that had been banned in other countries. Just I'm like, oh, curious. What are other movies that have been banned in those countries? Movies like, in Iran, Zoolander was banned because of support of gay lifestyle. The movie 300 was banned in Iran because of a negative portrayal of Persians. South Park.
Yeah.
The funniest one I found was that The Simpsons was was not shown in Myanmar because the characters had a combination of red and yellow, which is seen as support for rebel groups. That's very strange. I've never heard of that before. But oh, there you go. But it's interesting why these countries.
Jerry, you're going to get us banned in Myanmar
Oh
Don't care.
no.
because of your flag. You got
Don't
red
care.
and yellow. And I got
Don't
a
tread
red
on
and
me.
yellow vinyl back here now, too. We're fucked.
Yep.
All right, we're done. Pack it up, fellas.
Pack it up. Nope, can't have any red. Notice I wore no red. Oh wait, nope, I have red and yellow on too. Oh no! Sorry to all of our Myanmar friends. Myanmar? I have no
I
idea.
don't know.
But yes, it's freedom of speech. Rah rah.
You guys see
Well-
that they changed the banner though on Marvel? The banner for Marvel on Disney Plus?
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
No.
they changed it today. Yeah, it's the new updated one for the phase 2.
I
or
haven't been on
whatever.
today. And I think just because I know I'm going to be on there all day tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of stayed off. I
Mm-hmm.
just downloaded GTA today, and I can
Oh,
play
that's
it.
right.
Oh, you guys are gaming. All right.
Well, it's
I've got-
the original, the 3 trilogy, Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. My absolute favorite game is San Andreas. So I did purchase. I'm a big Rockstar fan. So
I've never actually played the games. I've only driven around and picked up prostitutes. So
No, you play the game then.
I pretty much played the game.
You play the game.
I put on the cheat code to give me every available weapon, and then tried to see how far I could last before the cops killed me. That's GTA.
well,
Congratulations.
not
sorry.
no, not to beat a dead horse, but there's this movie coming out. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. I believe it's pronounced Spiderman. No Way Home. Not a movie we've talked about today. But there were leaks just the other
Sure
day.
were. Yep. So
Jared, you didn't see them?
No, I saw him. I'm just very
Yeah?
upset by him.
well, for our people watching, maybe we don't want to talk exactly what's in the images, but it was a
No,
weird.
I'll talk about it. You know what? Spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear it, fast forward 10 minutes at least, because we're going to talk about this shit. Because I'm with you, Jared. Okay. It pisses me off when the leaks come out, but for a movie like this, I want to fucking know if my people are going to be in it.
It's not that it pissed me off that it leaked. It's
Right.
what leaked that pissed me off. The Okay, have you guys seen the old man grizzled Toby Maguire the fanfic
Yes,
picture?
yes. Yeah.
That's not him. Like, that's what I want. I want the grizzled motherfucker.
I
That's
do
what
too.
I want.
I do too.
Yeah.
But
Stephanie, you don't know what we're talking about?
I have not seen it, but I have no predisposition for how I want to see Toby Maguire because I think he's like 75 years old at this point. So doesn't matter to me. Old man Toby.
So for me, seeing the 3 of them together, cool.
That's cool.
We all kind of figured it's going to happen. For me, it's the conversation between John Campea and the representative from a movie company going, you don't steal the movie, you don't steal the Mona Lisa and leave a business card, and then pretty much just coming out and confirming what I have been hoping is that Charlie Cox will be bringing back Daredevil from the Netflix series into this universe, and it looks like it's going to happen. I'm super stoked. Daredevil. I watched the first 2 seasons. I didn't watch the 3rd season only because I didn't watch The Defenders, and I knew it picked up like right after that. I love the first 2 seasons of the Daredevil. Some of the best writing. The People versus Frank Castle is one of my favorite episodes of any TV show or movie. The writing on it is just amazing. He's just awesome, and I think he did a great job playing Daredevil. And if it is in fact true, this could be Sony's way to try to trick us all.
Well, I think the reason he might be coming back is because my theory he's going to be in the She-Hulk series because Jennifer
Correct.
Walters is an attorney, and so why not have the other well-known attorney in the Marvel universe join
Yeah.
up with her, right? So I think the reason it might be real is that Disney is going to want to bring him back in She-Hulk along with Bruce Banner. They just haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So we're kind of talking about Spider-Man: No Way Home. What do you want to see? You know, we've heard the rumors, we've heard the leaks. What is it you want to see, though?
I don't. I want to see whatever they want to show me.
Yeah,
I'm a pretty easy when it comes to Spider-Man. I'm pretty easygoing. I don't have a super huge attachment. Obviously, I love the character and I've been watching him since I was a kid.
yeah.
But whatever, as long as it doesn't completely break the character for me. Doctor Strange being in the movie already is like, oh, that's cool. That's gonna be interesting. Doctor Strange interacting with him. They had that fun interaction in Endgame or Infinity War. Sorry. Oh, yeah, Infinity War.
Yeah.
Where they that banter. They have good chemistry. Those two actors have good chemistry together. We don't know exactly how much or whether that is the real Stephen Strange. If you saw the what if of the dark Stephen Strange, is there the possibility that it's not the Stephen Strange of the Endgame universe, that it's the Stephen Strange of the what if universe that the
Could
Watcher?
be somebody else. Could be somebody else. We're not gonna bring that name up because we've been burned before.
Mephisto.
Don't
Actually, there's Mephisto right there, right there.
don't
behind me.
confuse me. That's my request. Don't fucking confuse me. I don't want to
Yeah.
have to keep track of everybody. I don't want to have to go, Alex, what's going on? And it's if I can keep track of it, that's all I care about, you know?
But you know what?
Like you, Stephanie.
Wouldn't it be just really hilarious that we're watching WandaVision and going, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto, it's Mephisto. Oh, it's not cool. And then we're watching Loki and we're like, it's Mephisto, it's Kang. Okay, cool. Okay. And then it's like, then they're going to finally give it to us. That would be funny to me. That would just be awesome. But
They shouldn't. They shouldn't just to
no.
piss everybody off.
Yeah,
Any other topics y'all want to talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, we talked about superhero movies and a lot of Spider-Man related news, but do we want to talk about whether people are getting burnt out on superhero movies? Is there
Yeah,
like a
that's
the idea of
definitely.
superhero fatigue has been talked about since the Avengers came out, if I remember correctly. Like everybody's, oh, is there too many superhero movies? And then we got 15% more. Oh, there's too many superhero movies. And we got another 20% more. Now there's, you know,
I think
Disney's pushing back. So
I
is there
think
really
the way Marvel did it in the beginning, the first four phases, right? That's what we had, four phases, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were spread out enough. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and now movies are getting pushed back. So we're in this winter of summer blockbusters. You know, movies that should have come out, you know, during the summertime, we're getting them now.
Mhm.
The problem is a lot of these movies are time sensitive per storyline and they cross over into other things. And so we're ending up with Spider-Man coming out in December, Morbius coming out in January, we got this coming out in March, we got this coming out in May. And it's like I like going to the movies, but movies is fucking expensive. When you factor in how many people are going, and we're gonna have popcorn, we're gonna have drinks, gas prices now to get to the movies, it's astronomical to be able to do that and to expect us to go every single month to see another Marvel slash Sony Marvel movie. It's gonna be tough. I
I mean,
am
I don't.
getting burnt out on it a little bit. I miss regular movies sometimes, but I will love my superhero movies.
It's
But I
not
get,
bad. I just think they need to tone it down. Like even if it is time sensitive,
yeah,
okay, then push it back a little bit. Push it back 2 or 3 months. It's okay. You can do that. It sucks, but you can do that. It's just everybody's got an offshoot nowadays. It's oh, you guys like Agnes? She's got her own series. Oh, you guys like Hawkeye? Guess what? He's got his own series. It's like
yeah.
bring it down.
The
Bring it
content
down.
machine, the spice must flow. The content spice must flow. I don't know.
It's
I mean, you have just MCU though, right? So that's time sensitive. The MCU films are time sensitive because they are a single continuity that has been established over 20 plus films. But then you have on top of that everything that DC is trying to come out with, everything that Sony's trying to come out with. You have other smaller comic properties trying to launch. Is there really? I mean, it's superhero fatigue, but these movies are different. The Suicide Squad that just came out is a very different movie than Shang-Chi, I'm imagining, right?
Yeah.
It's an entirely different tone. So it's like superhero as a genre is kind of not accurate because each of these superhero movies can have a different feel. You know, Winter Soldier is a 70s political thriller, whereas, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy was a Star Wars kind of a thriller. So if they stay different, sure, but if they're cookie cutter, yeah, it's the same conversation that's been happening about superhero movies for a while now. If they're cookie cutter, then yeah, people won't go to them. Who knows with the reviews about Eternals right now, if, you know, that's indicative of whether there's fatigue or not. People are not thrilled about that movie. I haven't seen it personally, so I can't say it, but is that really indicative of fatigue or just the movie not being great?
I'm just worried. I'm just worried that a lot of the that we're gonna have too many spinoffs, and they're gonna try to do what, you know, Dash was talking about earlier, just trying to make it all time sensitive and fit and correlate with this and lead up to the next thing. And it's like, it's cool. I'm stoked that they can do this. That the writers and everybody working together to fit this in. And, you know, I'm sure you can appreciate it, Stephanie, with what you do for a job, but like, it's insane how they tie everything in together. And I'm like, that's so dope. That's dope. But like, at what point in time does the chart board become too big of a chart board and we start going into a billboard size planning where you have to do this and do that and just bit. So I don't know. I'm skeptical, but at the same time, you're right. The Marvel machine has just been knocking homers left and right, and I keep paying up and I keep watching, and I'm gonna keep doing it until they start to, you know, make me upsetty spaghetti, and then I'm bouncing.
The same thing that's happened in comics themselves, right? People complained about comics when the new Civil War, or when that came out. You had to buy this comic, you had to buy this comic for this part of the story, and to buy that comic for that part of the story, and people were like, no, I can't afford all of this spreading across. You're just kind of using it as a, and plus, if one doesn't work, it's like a house of dominoes or house of cards. It kind of all falls apart. So it's kind of a very delicate dance. They have to, you know, how's that phrase go? They have to walk a fine line to make it all work.
I'm excited though. I know that a lot of these are technically reboots, and that was the other thing that I was worried about with Morbius, is now, are they rebooting Spider-Man? Are they, you know, showing us something different with the Spider-Man because of the different universes that they're running? And that's what really freaks me out, is because I remember the new what was it? The new Superman was rebooted or something like that. Or there was some DC thing that was just recently rebooted, and there was a huge hullabaloo about like people getting upsetty spaghetti about it. And I was like, okay, that's dope. But like, at what point in time can you tell stories differently, and how many stories have been told, you know, a totally different way before you are essentially remaking a remake of a remake, you know?
You're talking about the update of Superman's son and his relationship? Is that
no, I don't care about that.
Okay.
I don't care about that. I think that's dumb. I think there should be no relationships in superhero movies. Just because like
unless
people
it makes sense.
Unless it makes sense. Yeah, like there's Superman and Lois Lane. Okay, that's kind of a given. But like Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Okay, but like you know, God, I'm trying to think of what now. Maybe I made a bad analogy.
Tony and Pepper. Tony and Pepper is a pretty important relationship. Thor and Jane Foster. It's a pretty important relationship.
All right, so I shot myself in the butt on that one. Maybe I wasn't fully prepared.
Welcome to movie fights. Oh, sorry, that's not around anymore.
No. Well, there is one way to redeem yourself, and it is my absolute favorite time of the show. It is time to get into our top 10 draft. All right, so today's top 10 draft is brought to you by the good folks. You good over there?
No, yeah, just dying.
Don't die on us. Don't die on us.
Short guest episodes.
Today's top 10 draft is brought to you by the good folks at Shack-A-Sit Furniture Store. If you need a couch or love seat, we'll get you to the bottom of your furniture needs. Our top 10 draft today is, of course, best comic movies. The way this is going to work, we will start with myself because I'm awesome. Then we'll head over to Stephanie and Jared, and then we'll reverse it on back starting with your number 10 all the way to your number one. Give us a little bit of why you chose it at that ranking until we get to numero uno. Hope we don't offend you if we do. Fuck, wow. This is our picks. Don't care. My number 10, I am going with probably it's just a great adaptation of the comic of the graphic novel. I'm a huge Zack Snyder fan, as you will see by my list here. I think I have 3 or 4 Zack Snyder films on here. I think he does comic movies extremely well. My number 10, The Watchmen. It's just an incredible story. If you can get past a blue penis, and it's just it's just a great
Penis
fucking
is the
movie.
best part.
Yeah, exactly. Get past it.
Oh,
If you saw the HBO series, she more than got past it.
oh yeah, she did.
She sure did.
I just no, not gonna say it. Not gonna say it.
Oh,
Whatever you were gonna say, you're already canceled for. I'm sorry.
already canceled.
I like the fact that
Recast next week.
he didn't give himself a dong, like he didn't give himself that big flopper. Like he had a normal blue penis, if you could say a normal blue penis. Somebody speak before I get in trouble.
Talking about in the HBO series, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, his normal. Or are you talking about the Zack
movie?
Snyder?
Yeah,
Okay.
the movie. It was
HBO series, he sure didn't have a normal. Anyways, I won't talk about that. Anyways,
Stephanie.
back to
Stephanie, what is your number 10?
my number 10. We're gonna go outside of. It's still superhero in a sense, but this is a comic. This is a movie based on a comic that was kind of an independent and very short run comic that then got a later run. But it is 1997's Men in Black. So
Nice.
This is actually based on a comic movie or comic book series. I had a whole thing about looking up the information about it, but think about this movie. It's Vincent D'Onofrio in his second best performance since Full Metal Jacket, in my personal opinion. His third best being, of course, Wilson Fisk in Daredevil. Vincent D'Onofrio wearing an Edgar suit. You had the flashes. You had Will Smith.
You have to say it right. He was wearing an Edgar suit.
An Edgar suit. I like the sugar water.
Sugar water.
I mean, think of all the things in that movie, and then if you read the comic, the comic's a little bit darker, but then again, the movie is still dark because Tommy Lee Jones gave up his wife to go be in the Men in Black. That's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Kind of the dark ending where he gets flashed out. It's just a great movie. I love that movie so much. The sequel is not so much.
Agreed. Jared, what is your number 10, sir?
Gotham Knight. The reason why I like Gotham Knight is because number one, it's animated. The reason why I like it in animated movies because there's a lot more that you can do with the animation. Now, for those of you who don't know what Gotham Knight is, it's a mini series of a Batman story told from different people's perspectives. So as Batman chases the evil villains throughout the entire neighborhood of Gotham, you see it from different people's perspectives. So the artistry changes, the director changes, and it's really interesting to see how the people of Gotham perceive Batman and his villains. And it culminates in a great end to a fight, and it really tells a great story of what it's like to see Batman from an outside perspective instead of the third person over the top just wanting Batman or Bruce Wayne knock the snot out of people. So
I've seen it. I'm not too big on the animated ones, but I'm trying.
It takes a special, like you got like
No.
I understand there are some animations where I'm just like, nope, swipe left on that. But if it's that right animation style, you can swipe right all day or even hit the super like. So
I hear you. All right, let's bring it back around. What is your number 9 pick, sir?
oh damn, I gotta go again.
Yep.
The Rocketeer.
Okay.
What Stephanie? I didn't hear you there.
That's one of mine. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Love that movie.
I didn't know that this was a comic book movie when I originally saw it. And then I did a quick little, is The Rocketeer a comic book movie today? And it was literally one of the very first like superhero-ish movies that I saw that was something other than Spider-Man Teenage Mutant blah 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 blah. So I thought it was dope. I just thought everything about it was cool back then. I haven't seen it since, and I refuse to watch it again because nostalgia.
My mom will love that pick. It is one of her favorite movies. Just all around great movie. A movie that now as an adult I truly appreciate for branding. All the branding and marketing they did with that movie was just incredible, and really affected me as a child. Um, Coming
Plus,
into adulthood, yeah.
plus Joe Johnston, Mr. Captain America: First Avenger.
Hmm.
That's what we brought in. That same. He captures old school Americana really well. And
Yeah.
I forget the name of the actor's name who plays the bad guy, who played the bad guy in every movie of that era. He's great, the Rocketeer.
I'm just
Awesome.
gonna throw this out there for everybody. I don't know actors. I very rarely know them. So if you just like, yeah, this dude, I'll just be like, yeah, cool. I think I know who you're talking about.
Stephanie, what is your number 9?
My number 9, going back to the 90s again, is a movie based on a independent comic who, up until Blair Witch came out, was the most successful independent film of its time, and that is 1990's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
I love that movie. I watched that 1,000 times. It's got it was based more on the comic than it was on the animated series that came out at that time. You know, the animated series was like He-Man. It was an advertisement for the toys, but before all of that was this comic series, which was, I think, it's still independent, but it's owned by another subsidiary now. But think about the amazing. It was one of Jim Henson's last movies that he did. So it was actually, sorry, Men in Black was one of the last ones that he did too, or not Men in Black. No, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I got that right. The suits, the people that were in the suits and be able to fight with it, the way the animatronic mouths were, the darkness of, of April O'Neil and the son of her boss and him falling into a gang, and the Foot Clan and how they lured all these kids in to be their clan members. It's just, I love that movie. And now when I watch it as an older person, I appreciate so many more things in that. And there's no Vanilla Ice, because that just made it so cheesy and whatever. So before that, it had the nice darkness. Totally.
No.
It's gothic and how dark it was in the sewers. I love that movie. God, I love
Definitely going back to the comics for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Eastman and Laird, it's just amazing, and truly beautifully written and drawn in a special kind of way. Just a great comic. And then I think they did. I mean, being a kid when those movies came out was just awesome. And I'm sorry, I beg to differ. Ninja Rap will always be one of the best film movies, cinema history. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
All right.
How do we kick somebody out of a Zoom call?
Exactly.
It's
fine. It's fine. But after the darkness of the first one, Ninja Rap is like, what is this? This is totally different.
All right.
The only good thing, sorry, real quick, the only good thing Turtles 2 has is that Kevin Nash plays the Shredder at the end.
Super Shredder,
so that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Very good.
That
moving
scared
in.
the piss out of me as a child.
Oh yeah.
Super Shredder scared the ever living out of me.
Moving into my number 9 here. I'm going again, another Zack Snyder film. I seriously love Zack Snyder so much. And with the exception of Man of Steel, that's not a lie, with the exception of the last 45-minute fight scene of Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. That last fight scene was just way too long. I'm going 300 as my number 9 pick. Just beautiful movie. Comic movie aside, a movie on its own. It's just incredible. The sequel was good too. I did enjoy, but there's something special about the original. And still to this day, I can watch it and I go, "It's not Gerard Butler. It's not him. It doesn't look like him to me." It does. You see other movies that he's done, and what he brings to that role is something special. That's my number 9, 300. Just a great film.
Let's not forget Faramir as his right-hand dude.
Correct.
In that movie. I forget the guy's name. David Wenham, I think. I'm more of an actor person.
I call them the sexy guys, the sexy dudes in loincloths.
I just banged my ankle. Oh,
I don't know how they maintain that. Like that
yeah.
too disciplined. No. No.
Well, in actuality, the Spartans might have actually been naked when they went to battle. So, if anything, 300 is not explicit enough. According to history. It's just history, man.
I don't know if I'd want to go into combat with some dudes just hanging there, Tool. You know, just a big, jacked, beefy Gerald Butler with his man meat just swinging like, onward. No, sir. No, king. No, I'm done.
Their opponents might have thought the same, and that's how he protected them. Like, no, actually, I think I won't. I'm good, thanks.
I mean, okay, you know, the Greeks used to wrestle naked, but like screaming into combat with a sword and shield, bro, no. Like, thank me. I'm. See you later.
Oh, and then now, okay, so yeah, 300. My number 8. Moving into my number 8. I'm
Didn't
going
we just
with
do number 8?
No, that was my number 9. Now we're wrapping around to my number 8. It's a comedy. Kind of came out of nowhere. I don't really know too much about the comic, but the director is just hella awesome. I'm going number 8 is Kick-Ass. Just a great fucking movie. Sequel not so much. One of Jim Carrey's kind of weirder roles in the sequel, but the original was just hilarious and kind of came out of nowhere. So yeah, number 8, Kick-Ass.
And of course, Nick Cage. The Nick
Yes.
Cage factor makes everything better.
One of the few movies I liked him in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not.
Okay.
Alex,
fair enough.
If we talk about honorable mention, I'll explain why.
No worries.
Definitely. All right, Miss Stephanie, what is your number 8?
All right, my number 8 is a recent from 2019. It is the second time somebody has won an Oscar for playing this character, and that is 2019's Joker. So I know that this movie, speaking of movies that have controversy, right? There was a whole controversy before this movie ever came out.
Right.
And after you see the movie, you can kind of tell why maybe some of that controversy would have happened. But I think this movie is so brilliantly done. The sound design is my personal favorite part of this movie. Just the visceral nature of how we're kind of brought into his mind through both the sound design and kind of the hallucinogenic view a little bit. I mean, maybe hallucinogenic isn't quite the right term for it, but it's kind of just an altered person. You're seeing the world through an altered person's mind. When that buildup happens to that last scene with Joker and Robert De Niro's character in the seat, where you know what's going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen, and finally he pulls the trigger. Just every piece of that movie is so beautiful, that the way he uses music throughout it, and the fact that it's Todd Phillips, who's more well known for comedy, he kind of uses that dark humor and the scenes of him trying to be a comic and him trying to relate to people, and how many times people are constantly crapping on him and mistreating him, and how that's a reflection of how people with mental illness get treated a lot of times, and how services get cut back and all that. There's so much commentary and beautifulness, but this performance from Joaquin Phoenix is just it's so Joaquin Phoenix, but it's, you know, not the same as you see him in Gladiator and all these other movies that he's really famous for. It's just him devolving into this emaciated, horrible, broken character. And I love that movie. So number 8 would be Joker.
Has anybody noticed that these music composers are just dropping fucking hammers lately? Like, just the musical composure of everything is just so in tune and on point. It almost like it has to be a part of the movie. If you don't have a banger of a soundtrack, the movie's garbage nowadays.
When you get a good director and a good composer, it becomes a whole nother character. That music does. I don't know. I get a hard on for Hans Zimmer. The way what he does, what he can bring to movies, and I don't want to say every time, but most of the time, what he did with the trilogy for Christopher Nolan and Batman. Is still, to me, one of the greatest things, that the music kind of becomes a whole nother character and adds to Bruce Wayne's portrayal, or as Batman. It kind of, I don't know, it was almost like you couldn't see Batman without hearing that doom doom. Yeah,
That's
just
my
great. Yeah. All right, Jared, what is your number 8?
I'm actually going 2019 as well too on this. I'm going
Okay.
Hellboy.
Okay.
2019's Hellboy.
2019 Hellboy. Okay,
Yeah.
wow, you're on a small island by yourself.
I
Yep.
know. Very
That's
small
cool.
island.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Mila Jovovich, she's my goth girlfriend. I love her to death. Resident Evil, I thought she was like kind of hokey, but the way she really leaned into it, and then she came out as, I think it was Hella or whatever she came out as. I was just like, yeah, Mila Jovovich does it. And then I didn't know it was Dan Harbour at the time, but then when I started to listen to Hellboy, I was like, yeah, I'm a big Dan Harbour fan. Stranger Things kicked it off for me, but just I don't know. I just thought that it felt David Harbour.
David Harbour. There you go.
David Harbour. What? Oh, I did write it down.
I'm just saving you from the
Harbour.
internet. I'm just saving you from the internet.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I'm the odd man out. I don't care. But yeah, Mr. Harbour. Okay, Mr. Harbour.
Sorry, you can put some respect on that name, Mr. Harbour.
Mr. Harbour.
What do we this? Did you see what's his name?
Widow?
No. Original Hellboy. What's his name?
Oh,
Ron
Perlman.
Yeah, Ron. Did you see those?
Oh, I love those.
So where do you put Perlman versus Harbour?
I think they both play him very expertly. I know a lot of people want to like dig into the semantics of stuff. Dude, I shut off the moment it says universal or whatever, brain off. Just I'm like, tell me a story, and if the story and the acting is good, I will like it. A lot of people can be all like hunky dory about stuff, but I just like, tell me a story and be good. That's all I care about. And then the eye candy that is Mila Jovovich. She's my goth girlfriend. I like her.
I heard that the movie just kind of goes insane in the third act.
It does.
Right? I love movies that go insane in the third act. Like I like the last Predator movie because it just goes ape shit at the end. And so if this one goes a little ape shit, I'm probably gonna love it because I love a movie that goes way out there.
It's so ape shit it kind of gets bad.
Oh, really?
Like you see some stuff and you're like, there could be more in the budget. There could be, like, it almost feels like they're like, how can we take this to the 5th level? It's like, no, we could stay at the 2nd. No, we want to take it to the 5th. It's like, oh, okay, but like, yeah, but David and Mila really kind of do it for me. So
awesome. All right, let's wrap it on around back again. Number 7 for you.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Sean Connery.
Oh, yes.
All I saw was Sean. I forget. I think it was like the trailer where he's just like, let's do this or some shit like that. I'm like, sold. I'm watching it. Sold. Just don't even care. And I just like how everyone is so like they're all like ready to stab each other in the back throughout the whole movie, and then they're like best friends forever at the very end. So
Such a great movie. Yeah. The way it was filmed, the writing, just everything, just likable characters. I do not like Shane West. Loved him in that movie though.
Well, I liked how they portrayed like how getting a whole bunch of random personalities together really would be like. Yeah. I thought that was so dope. So
Avengers before the Avengers.
Oh man. All I could think about was that's the last film Sean Connery ever did, and he hated doing it so much that he quit. That's all I know. I mean, I've seen the movie and it's fine. Yeah. It's got Peter Wilson as a character, and I like Peter Wilson quite a bit. So you know who that is. She was La Femme Nikita on TV for a short bit of time. So
thank you.
There you go. She's quite lovely.
Yeah, say people's names, and I'm just like, okay, that could be anybody.
Stephanie, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is another recent movie, and it's probably cliche to say this because it's a lot of people think this is like one of the greatest comic book movies that's ever been done. But for me personally, 2017's Logan is one of my favorite experiences in a theater. Well, the biggest reason is for Sir Patrick Stewart. Yes. I think it was a crime that he wasn't nominated for his performance, and that, yes, Hugh Jackman is amazing. he's, known that character for quite a bit, but there's something about how Charles Xavier, the tragedy of Charles Xavier is at the heart of that movie, and the tragedy of both him and Logan, these broken things that everything in their life is gone. They only have each other, and even at the end, that's not enough. And this is the final scene where he thinks it's Logan that is carrying him, and it ends up being the clone, and he dies thinking that Logan's the last thing that he sees. He dies in the back of the truck. That whole everything about that performance. Stephen Merchant being in the movie is awesome. Is a huge tall character, and I love Stephen Merchant. That whole movie is beautiful. The scene at the end where she sets the X for him at his graveside. I mean, I love movies that make me cry. Because I'm a girl, probably we like to cry. It's good for us, right?
I love crying in movies. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love crying in movies, and that movie made me cry so hard at this relationship, this lone wolf and cub relationship that they used in the movie, and just the idea of his guy's mortality. They kind of explored it in the Wolverine with his powers kind of being taken away from him, and what is he without his powers?
Right.
But this movie is just so emotional. It's so heartfelt. I love Logan, so that's my number 7.
He's a broken, sad man. Without his powers, he's just a very broken individual
who's stealing pills.
Yeah,
good man.
All right, my number 7. Probably no shock. I'm bringing back Zack Snyder again.
He only gets to Zack Snyder.
I'm telling you what, he's just an amazing filmmaker. But what he did with my number 7 pick is just a true masterpiece. My number 7 is the Justice League Zack Snyder 4-hour cut. Totally. My opinion could have been longer. It was just amazing. There's a difference between this wasn't a movie. This was a film. This was a journey. And that's why I said it could have been even longer, because I didn't want it to end. Just what he can do with characters and how you can feel for character. I think Zach does sorry, we're on a first name basis here. Me and Zach, and what he can do is just amazing, especially coming from the just horrific thing that was the Justice League. Just horrible. It was truly just a whole nother film.
How do you come in halfway through a movie and expect to finish it out when you're in two different genres of making movies? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's version had no upskirt shots of Wonder Woman. That in and of itself is an improvement.
Yeah. Just a great movie. So yeah, moving on to my number 6. This one is a tricky one. So my number 6 was never a comic. My number 6 was never a graphic novel. But my number 6 is about superheroes.
Okay.
My number 6 is Unbreakable.
I was going to say Unbreakable. Okay.
Unbreakable. And I keep that as by itself as a trilogy. It's great. I like M. Night Shyamalan a lot. But that movie kind of came out of nowhere and just kind of, if superheroes were real, like we have lives, we have wives and husbands and children, and we're broke, and we're living paycheck to paycheck. But it was taking a modern look at superheroes in real life, and the dynamic just between Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis is, takes me back to Die Hard with a Vengeance, is one of my absolute favorite films, and kind of like a buddy situation. They work so well together. And so yeah, my number 6, Unbreakable. Technically not a comic movie, but it's a comic movie.
I think of any movie that could break the rule of not being based on a comic, it's a movie specifically about comics.
Yeah.
So
second motion.
Yeah. Yes. All right, cool. Number 6 for Stephanie. Where are you taking us?
We are going somewhere totally different. We are going back to 1998, the film that, in my opinion, is the true beginning, no offense to X-Men, but the true beginning of the comic book movie renaissance, which is 1998's Blade. It also happens to be the movie with, I think, the greatest line ever uttered in any movie of any genre at any time, which is, some motherfuckers always got to be ice skating uphill. Thank you, David S. Goyer, writer of the Dark Knight trilogy. His first masterpiece was that line. The blood rave at the beginning. Wesley Snipes is such a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how Mahershala Ali does it as stepping into that role.
I can't wait.
Chris Christopherson is his grizzled mentor. The idea of him being a Damphir and having being a day walker and this whole cool mythology. Blade is such a cool movie. It's such a New Line Cinema mid to late 90s movie, but done so well. The camp is on the fine line with knowing exactly what movie it is. I freaking love. We just watched that like last week. Steven Dorff turning into that weird blood monster thing at the end. It's so mwah,
Yes.
mwah.
Great movie.
One of the few times Dane Cook was actually cool.
Dane. Oh yeah, that's right.
Was Dane there?
Yeah,
I forgot.
he was Blade's sidekick.
That's right.
I haven't seen it in so long.
Dane Cook was Blade's. I think he got murked in the first or second one, but
Really?
he was the sidekick. He was the sidekick.
I think I'm gonna look at that. That's funny. All right, Jared, what is your number 6? Yeah, number 6.
Batman: The Killing Joke.
Okay, nice.
If I remember correctly, it was the ending that got me. Because Batman had caught the Joker, and he's sitting there like, he's like, "What do I do with you?" And the Joker just tells the joke, and then they both laugh. And I think it's implied that the Joker dies because of a heart attack or something along those lines. But it's just that Batman finally laughs at one of the Joker's jokes. It was one of those dad jokes that you hear and you're like, oh, it's so dumb, but it portrayed their dynamic very, very well. And I'm not really a big Batman fan, honestly, like in the sense of I'm kind of rare, but because the Christopher Nolan series threw me off a little bit, but that's why I like these animated movies, because you can kind of do a lot of different things with them. So yeah, Batman: The Killing Joke, it was the scene at the end that threw me. I was like, yeah, that's dope. It's iconic. It's worth the watch. Yeah.
It's the great Mark Hamill as the Joker, right?
I'm almost positive. Yeah. If Mark Hamill is the Joker now and forever.
No offense, Joaquin.
Thank you.
I'm surprised so far we haven't had any overlap. No overlap yet.
Just late.
Yeah. All right.
There was foreshadowing in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see it happen here. Number 5, Jared, bring us into the second half.
Overlapping right now, Logan, Old Man Logan. You see this broken man, and it you go from Logan being this beast of an individual that you're like, hell hath no fury. And here you just look at him and you're just like, just die. Just end it. Just go peacefully into the dark night. And he can't even do that. Nope. He has to go out Wolverine style. Sorry.
That scene in the middle where Xavier is having an episode and he's having to fight against it and he puts the claws through the dude's heads.
Yeah.
Please stop. I have enough shivers. Oh my God.
I'm getting shivers too.
I see that where he's just like, king, shink, just through the dude's skull. And you see the guy visibly react in Logan. You died the way you lived, sir.
Number 6. Stephanie.
We're still on number 5. Okay.
Yeah,
number 5. All right. So I don't know if we're going to have overlap on this, but we'll see. This is going back to 2012. Oddly enough, the same year as the Avengers. This is a totally different superhero movie. We're going with a man who never left his helmet, Mr. Carl Urban in Dread.
Oh my God.
I love this movie. This is The Raid, but with the perfect we'll call him protagonist is the role. Lena Headey as Mama. Just the fact of not to, go woke on it, but having a woman being allowed to play this really dark, and because of the fact that it's Cersei, I'm sure that it made more sense, kind of her as that role. But just the fact that she's this brutal, brutal bad guy doing brutal stuff, the slow-mo, the fact that the drug's called slow-mo, and then the effects of the movie, seeing that with again, with sound design, beautiful sound design, and the shimmeriness of the sound design when people are in that state. Such a great movie. Man, I love that movie.
When
Mwah.
when Dread when Mama exits through the pane of glass and they do that slow-mo, there's that controversy. Is he waving goodbye, or is he pulling his hand back from just shoving her forcefully through the glass? Is he waving goodbye, or is he just retracting from when he shoved her through the glass? I know that is a huge controversy.
Judgment? Is he giving judgment? Like,
I judge you. I don't know. Just whoo.
I never saw the reboot.
Oh man.
Only the Stallone and Schneider.
I've seen the Stallone and Rob Schneider one, and that one's really fun. And that's a dark, dirty, kind of Blade Runner-y, but still comedy, right? This one has none of that comedy, and it's I forget the name of Olivia. Is it? I forget the name of his sidekick, his trainee that he has. That it's her first day. So the trainee, yeah, I forget her name, but
just trainee.
The trainee. It's such a, based on my reading of the comic, it's such a better representation of what that world actually is and what it would be to have judge, jury, and executioner wrapped up in one person. The brutality of it, especially because the Raid had just come out, so it's kind of a similar film language. And the movie was criminally underwatched by people when it first came out. It's now kind of a cult classic, but people didn't see it when it came out, unfortunately.
Didn't he call her like Rookie throughout the entire time, though? Didn't he just refer to her as Rookie the entire time? Yeah. I love that. There's no personality, Rookie.
And just this the whole time. I should do this now for the rest of the show in honor of Carl Urban. Just talk with my mouth.
All right, we are moving into my number 5. My number 5 is kind of way, way, way out of left field. Follows no rhyme or reason to anything that we've really talked about. The comic itself is just wacky. It's crazy. It's so over the top. And is helmed by an actor who is just as crazy and zany as the lead in the comic. My number 5, 1994, Dark Horse Comics, The Mask. Just an amazing, amazing comic. And just as an equally amazing movie that came out of nowhere and just added to skyrocketing Jim Carrey's career to what it is now. Yeah, I can't praise this movie enough.
Perfect casting.
It really is. Launched Cameron Diaz's career.
Her first appearance, her first screen appearance.
Legs for days. It's one of my absolute favorite
great
scenes.
Actress.
That too. That too. That too.
There's a head.
But them legs. I'm just saying. But them legs.
Man. If I had legs like that, yeah, I'd be showing them off too.
Oh yes. Oh yes. If I had legs like that, I would never wear pants. Never wear pants. Yep. I would wear shorts, just not pants. Yeah, cool.
Shorts.
So this brings me to my number 4 because we are wrapping it around. Originally, my number 4 was The Book of Eli, an amazing movie, and for the longest time, I guess up until today, when I'm doing my research and stuff and trying to find out which comic companies released these books and stuff, and The Book of Eli is not a comic. It is not a comic. It's not a graphic novel, even though it is written as one. Funny enough, that was one of the top questions whenever I typed in Book of Eli comic, and it was like, is it really not a comic? Because I guess so many people thought it was. So I had to replace it, and I was going to, shift things around, and then I found a movie, one popped into my head that I was like, no, I can literally slide this right in here. My number 4 pick, another Dark Horse comic, 2005, led by Bruce Willis, Mickey Rourke. Sin City is just an amazing film. I love Frank Miller. You will see him show up again, I'm sure. Really? You don't like Sin City?
No,
Why?
no, it was so cheesy. It
It's
was
part
like,
of it, though. It's
but it's
For the audio listeners, I have my hands up like, what the F?
it's just, it doesn't sit well with me. I don't, it's just, it's almost like maybe it was the time frame that I was in, but like it was just watching the cheesy TikTok cheesy. You know, you
Oh,
watch it and you're just like,
now.
wow.
I do
Wow.
like the
Fine,
campiness about it,
fine.
but it's that noir, the glass door that says like detective, and it's just Marv's character is just amazing, and
about
Nancy, Jessica Alba is just everything
Lot of
about
stuff.
it.
The
Can we ta-
aesthetics were pretty. I'm sorry, Stephanie, go. Sorry.
No, it's
sorry.
all right. I was gonna say my favorite part of that movie is Elijah Wood. He is creepy
Oh
as hell.
yes,
Oh, great Elijah Wood performance of many.
The aesthetics are beautiful. Elijah is creepy as fuck. I think he scared the ever living out of me too when I watched it, and I was a little bit older. But just how it was the damsel, and it didn't. Everything about it was. I think it was just so cookie cutter, the kind of style that they went with the story. With the story,
Okay.
this everything else about it was fucking amazing and on point, but it just felt so hokey and cookie cutter for damsel in distress. This big dude's got to go save her, and burp, 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 and it just I don't it just no.
Brittany
Hmm.
Murphy. Oh
The late Brittany Murphy.
yes. All right.
Can I ask
Sorry.
when's the last time you watched Sin City? Have you watched it recently?
Nope.
No?
I saw
I-
it like once and I was like, nope, done.
Be interested if you watch it again, if you take it differently. I found that with movies, if I didn't like it when I was younger and I watch it when I'm older, I'm like, oh, okay, I get this, or maybe it just hits me a little differently. I don't know. But hey, that's your opinion. That's cool.
You know what, Stephanie? For you,
For
I
me.
will rewatch it. Yes, ma'am.
I will
For
say
you.
it's one of those things like the branding. It goes back to the branding for me. Sin City branding and the marketing for that movie was just amazing. And I will say the main reason my colors are red, black, and white for the show is because of Sin City. That's what I learned what power colors were, and I was like, that's amazing.
Dope. I made fun of our title cards.
Wait,
That's all right. What can't you
Stephanie.
get canceled for today?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. So are we on number 4, right?
Yes.
Alrighty. So my number 4, again, a dark one. I should have looked up. I think it's a Vertigo comic, if I remember correctly. But this is 2006's V for Vendetta.
Oh, very good.
Oh,
I love this movie. I've watched it so many times. The brilliant Elrond himself, Hugo Weaving. Again,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's about movies where actors hide their face the entire time, but there's something I really connect to, just having to figure out what their face is doing behind the mask. I do have the book and I've read it many years ago, but the beautiful way, I talk about a movie that's probably banned for a gay storyline. The whole storyline of how he's feeding her these stories of the person that was next to him in the cell and her life and what she divulged to him, and the idea of this super repressive government that's constantly monitoring people, which I know has no basis in reality. Sarcasm.
hi, FBI agents.
What's up, CIA and CSA and all those other. Not CSA. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've never been in the military, if you can't tell. But
isn't
just
CSA like an agency, a talent agency?
CSA. Well, I think of that as like a. Isn't that where you get vegetables or something or meat once a week? Isn't that also called a CSA? Whatever. I don't know my government bodies, but just Natalie Portman in a very good British accent. Stephen Fry. I love Stephen Fry. Anything with Stephen Fry in it is good. John Hurt as that horrible dictator at the end. The way that they eat upon themselves. Again, the use of music in a movie, the way that the 1812 overture is used at the beginning, and the fact that it's a Wachowski project-ish. It was officially, directed by somebody else, but both the Wachowski sisters now were involved in the writing of that movie. I mean, it's one that just keeps sticking with me. There's certain imagery in that movie that constantly sticks with me. The first scene where he lights the fireworks off and the fireworks behind it make the V for Vendetta logo, the way that that's handled, the idea of the people that are out enforcing the laws on behalf of the government and taking a little too much pleasure in doing that. There's so much about that movie that I love. Most centrally is Hugo Weaving's performance. The idea of this purely physical performance when you can't see his face. Love it.
Totally agree. I had forgotten all about that movie.
I'll never
Great,
forget that.
great pick. Jared, your number 4.
The Death of Superman. I don't know, just something about when the superhero dies. I'm a big Superman fan. I really like it. Again, it is another animated movie. I feel like with animated movies, you can kind of do a little bit extra, just because there's not really that whole constraint about, getting the actors or what have you. But yeah, just seeing the death of a Superman come into play and what it really means for everybody around it. Like, everyone knows when Iron Man died. Like, that was a very pivotal moment. So like when Superman dies in the death of Superman, it's just, there's a void that Stark, or that, that now, wow, did I really just blank? Clark Kent and can't fill. Sorry, I get put on the spot and I forget shit. it's a talent. But yeah, that's my number 4 is the death of Superman. It got me in the feels. It got me in the feels.
I remember where I was when I heard. It was one of those days, like it was in the news, like they're killing Superman. And I was like, what? Like, you can't kill Superman. And then to go through the comics. I'm a huge Blue Beetle fan and Booster Gold. And to see them liquefied in the comic, to be hit so hard, you are liquefied. I was like, Doomsday was no joke. Yeah. Death Superman hit me hard growing up, being a comic fan.
If you want a good comic where Superman dies, that's got a great story with it. I think it's All-Star Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It's about his coming to terms with he's dying, and then the ending is a little ambiguous, but it's interesting to watch or to read, I should say. No notes?
No notes.
Oh, okay.
Good feedback. I like it. I've never seen it. So you're naming all these cool animated movies that are on HBO Max that I gotta watch.
There you go. We are in the top 3 right now. Only one crossover so far.
God damn it! Now I gotta listen to that song. The final countdown.
All right, Jared. What is your number 3?
So this is the one and only, I guess you would call it, Marvel movie that I'm having on here. Far From Home. Tom Holland in Far From Home. I love Tom Holland. Everything the dude encapsulates a young, intriguing Spider-Man that just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing yet. And that's why I'm interested for the next one to see, can he become Spidey? Can he become something? It just, everything from the story to where he's led to where it goes to where it starts, to the beginning, middle, and end. I just love everything about Tom Holland. Like, it almost feels like when they're like, oh no, RDJ was written as, like, it was written, Tony Stark was written as him. I feel that's how Spider-Man is written for Tom Holland. It is just, he's that kid that doesn't know a whole heck of a lot, and he just plays it so well. So any of the Tom Holland Spider-Mans you could really say, but I like Far From Home better. So,
can you imagine, just thinking about your love of Tom Holland, can you imagine that the other option for Spider-Man, the other person, do you know who the other person was that auditioned the same time as Tom?
I don't want to know, but sure.
Timothy Chalamet. Can you imagine that? That'd have been so weird. So strange.
He's in Dune right now?
Yes, he is. Sorry, the lead guy of Dune, excuse me.
Yeah.
For the rest of the internet, Timothy Chalamet.
Hold on. Timothy Chalamet.
Did you not see Dune yet?
No.
You haven't seen Dune yet? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine just the idea of somebody being so perfect for a character? Tom Holland is Peter Parker. Yeah. Right? I think even more than Toby and even more than Andrew, because he looks young enough to be Peter in high school. And Toby and Andrew just didn't. They just never
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, that was so. I love that. I love that era of movies where it's like, I'm 18, kids. No, you're 27, bud. You're 27.
Steve Buscemi, what's up, fellow children or fellow kids?
All right,
yeah.
Stephanie,
All right.
what is your
So-
number 3?
We're gonna stay in the Marvel universe. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna put 2 films together as one, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 style. I'm going Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame as my number
Okay.
3. So here's why. I'll sell you on why Infinity War and Endgame are fantastic movies. So Infinity War. So I have read, the Thanos, the Infinity Saga. I've read that one, and yes, it didn't have the cool ending of Thanos as there is in the Infinity Saga with him. It kind of did, right, in the beginning of Endgame. But the fact that pop filmmaking is so difficult, the fact that they had all this pressure to end this massive series of films on a crescendo, the fact that they had to weave how many different characters, how many different films into this cohesive story, this fairly cohesive storyline, in my opinion, together. It's such, in my personal opinion, which is all this is, it's a great triumph. The fact that I remember when I first watched Infinity War, we were at the IMAX here in Minneapolis, which is unfortunately no longer there. The feeling at the end of Infinity War when all of our heroes have floated away, the quietness of that theater at the end of all, because everybody was dressed up. It was Thursday night. Everybody's super excited. How's Infinity War gonna turn out? Like, how are they gonna fight Thanos? The moment where you think Thor is gonna take Thanos out, and Thanos goes, "You should have aimed for the head," and then snaps. Like the symphony, the way that they orchestrate those whole last battle scenes. Yeah, sure, the dudes that they're fighting are disposable and whatever, but the cool battle scenes of Scarlet Witch, of Okoye, of Vision at the end, the way that Vision has to fight all those people in the middle of the film, the fact that we'd had Civil War and they're all broken up, and we're seeing Cap with a beard, and we're seeing Black Widow with her blonde hair, and how they're trying to still be superheroes. That was super cool. Like, that film is awesome. And then the way that it ends into Endgame, the fact that they were able to bring back Ant-Man, and the fact they were able to bring in Captain Marvel, they were able to bring in this huge expansive storyline, and the finality of that scene of Captain America grabbing the hammer all by himself, strapping the shield to his arm. Thor and Iron Man are gone. It's all of Thanos' army against him, and he's like, I can do this all day. It's such a great moment. And then, of course, the part where I start to cry in that movie is when he has that scene. He's going to do it all by himself. On your left. Like, just the fact, the choices that they make in Endgame, like, it could have been schlocky. It could have been super schlocky. It could have been really poorly handled. They could have had what they've had in other Marvel movies, the third act syndrome that they've kind of had, where it's just some big CGI battle. It is still a big CGI battle, but in my opinion, they set up the stakes for those characters so that that battle really had an emotional weight. And then when at the very end, Tony, Doctor Strange holds up the one finger, like, there's only one way that this can end, and just that, not saying the words, not force feeding you the plot, like, just that interaction between Strange and Iron Man, where he's like, I know what I got to do. I am Iron Man. The fact that they ended it that way, like, there's so much of those films where it could have gone so much wrong. They managed to have a satisfying crescendo to this 20-film series, and a storyline that does not copy the Infinity War saga. It plays with it, but it does something kind of different. I love those movies. And if you don't, that's fine, but I love those movies.
How is that your number 3?
My number 3. Well, you'll see. You'll see.
Definitely a movie that I love watching, like, reaction videos of, 1, him catching the hammer, 2, finally saying assemble.
Oh, yes.
It's like a sigh of relief, all of this just off of my chest, finally hearing one word. But more than that, I can watch reaction videos and I still will bawl every single time Tony dies.
Oh
When
my God.
when that light flickers and Pepper starts, I'm like, I can't. It's probably the hardest movie death
I
for
didn't
me.
watch it. I didn't watch it with the volume really good one time because I watched it 3 times in theaters. I watched Endgame 3 times in theaters, once in 3D on accident, but it was still pretty good. And I finally put on my headphones when I was listening to it on here, and I didn't catch when Friday was like life signs fading. And
Oh.
when I heard Friday, I was like, wait, what? And I had to turn it up, and I was like, oh shit. Like that just like, because like you kind of like, what's going on? But then you hear Friday and you're like, oh,
Yeah, he's out.
oh, like that just hits so different. That scene hits so much different hearing Friday in the background. And I love how it's just enough where, like, if you're paying just enough attention, you can catch it.
I think it's a mixture between the death, hearing that, but for me, it's Pepper going, "We're gonna be okay,"
You can go.
and you're like,
Rest.
"Oh shit, there's a little one," and then the hologram when he like looks up at her, I'm like, I'm
Love you
done.
3000.
Yeah, just a great movie.
Can we just skip the rest of them, please?
Oh no. See, I do love those movies just because of the fact that just the time heist, the idea of how not only with it's wrapping up all these films, but that they brought those films into the finale, right? That they were able that scene of Tony and his father, because in Civil War, remember there was the memory altering thing where he could go back and relive a memory where he wishes he'd said something to his father, and in this
Barf.
movie he got to say that. He got to say those things to his father and get that closure. Cap ends up with Peggy. Hulk is enlightened. I mean, Thor has new friends, even though he's lost everything. Fat Thor.
Yeah, Lebowski.
That's so good.
Funny,
But it
funny,
is still my
funny.
number 3.
All right, cool. Let's keep going here because we're running out of time here. My number 3, Caliber Press, Image Comics. So much history behind this movie. Let's talk about death. Tony was hard for me, but this one started very young and was way too soon. The death of Brandon Lee. The Crow is number 3 for me. Just a difficult, still a difficult movie for me to get through, because I mean it's whether it's in there or not, when it happened during the shooting, and I am one of those. I am a fan of the entire series of The Crow. I love everything about the history of the comic and everything that goes back for each character that portrays the Crow. The Crow, the first one, and probably Salvation are my 2 favorite. But the first one, it's iconic. Brandon Lee, just amazing. Oh, way too soon.
Way too soon. Agreed. All right. So is it my turn to go number 2?
My turn to go number 2.
Oh, your turn to go number 2. I forgot.
Yeah.
Draft. Go ahead.
See who's going to be overlapping here. My number 2, which I went back and forth with, is this going to be my number 1? It's so close. To me, it's a near perfect movie. This movie would be in my top 5 probably of all time movies for me. Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale, and Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight is my number 2. And it kind of hurts me to say that out loud. It's just an amazing film. I remember when Heath Ledger was when they said he was going to play the Joker, and at that time we were sitting there going, nobody can beat Nicholson, and then for us to see what he did with that character, him dying aside, it's a great portrayal of just this character, this iconic character, and what he did in his interaction with everybody, not just Batman, but everybody he was on screen with, whether it was him and Harvey in the hospital, and he takes the wig off and he's like, "Hi." is just so hilarious to me. And yeah, he did an amazing job. What do y'all think? Number 2.
The pencil trick. Can we talk
Yeah.
about the pencil trick?
Yeah. Oh,
I
See a magic trick?
I tried to I did a Fallout 4 series on my Paragaming Productions. I'm gonna plug myself. I did a series where I played as Harley Quinn's the Joker, and I tried to mimic what Heath Ledger did in the Fallout 4 playthrough. And I think that he's just so iconic, and that like just even when they're like, yeah, like he's crazy, he's like, no, I'm not. And like, dude, you're holding grenades and you're ready to pull 10 of them that are on you. Like, you're little nuts. I have one problem, and that's Batman doesn't use a voice modulator. All that money, and he still,
yeah.
like, you don't think he would use a voice
It
modulator?
gets worse in each film too.
Yeah.
Like, where are the drugs?
Yeah.
By the Dark Knight Rises, it's like, what did you say? Why can't I understand Bane better than you? Like,
just throw on a voice modulator. There's the one problem with Batman that I had was just like, why can't he use a voice modulator? That's why I like Ben Affleck's Batman, because I feel like that's something Bruce Wayne would do.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I need to sound different. Fuck it, voice modulator,
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
because
yeah.
he had Batman strength throat lozenges.
All right, Stephanie, number 2. What is your number 2 pick?
Alrighty, number 2 pick. We're going back to the Marvel/Fox cinematic universe. We are going with a movie that nearly had my wedding vows in it, and that is My Crazy Matches Your Crazy. That is 2016's Deadpool. I think this movie is literally perfect. I love the romance. I cried so hard in this movie. I don't know if there's a theme for the movies that I like that I cry to. Why I like Rudy, but the fact that when Wade gets cancer, and I can't remember Miranda Bachman's character, her name right now, but when she says, "Oh, you need to be here with your purse and with your dolly and with your me," and just that relationship between them, I really believed that connection. Talk about relationships in comics really meaning something to the story. The relationship between Wade and I can't remember her character name now. How integral that was to the story. Vanessa, thank you very much. Wade and Vanessa, the funny sex scene, the International Women's Day that everybody knows is a joke now. Just that whole marketing campaign for Deadpool, how brilliant that marketing campaign was. And then the film delivered on it, right? There's so many films that have great marketing campaigns because the movie is garbage. And that movie, every scene is budgeted well. The scene on the whole action sequence on the highway overpass, that was in the test footage. And then the way you actually see that footage, it's kind of playing on the fact that the footage was leaked and then they played into the film, opening with Angel of the Morning and that whole title sequence, and that mocking the meta-ness of the movie, matching the meta-ness of the comic. Francis, I mean, just so many things about that movie are literally perfect to me. That's my number 2 comic book, and probably in my top 5 of all time, because the weekend that came out was Valentine's Day. And it was the weekend my husband proposed to me, and we both said we watched it again the week after we said yes, obviously. And so it's like our proposal movie. So that's why it's my number 2 movie. Your crazy matches my crazy. Is that not a great wedding vow?
I think that's appropriate.
I agree.
It's appropriate. Yeah, I got no notes.
So there's my number 2, Deadpool. All right, who's next? Jared, you're next.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Are you going to tell me you don't like Deadpool? Am I going to have to kill you?
Wait.
Okay.
Just wait.
Okay.
This is one of those instances where I believe the sequel was way better than the original. Wait.
Okay.
For 2 reasons. 3. Domino and Cable.
Okay. Can't argue with that.
Probably top 5 Marvel people. I thought the comedy was smoother.
Okay.
And this is why I like Deadpool. I do. But I felt it was forced.
Okay.
Some of the comedy was like the
Sure.
jokes were too forced. And I think some of it too is I didn't grow up a Deadpool fan.
Okay.
So to get the timing that Wade gave, I get Wade Wilson is Ryan Reynolds. They're one and the same. I get that. I get Ryan Reynolds. Van Wilder is like one of my favorite movies. To me, Van Wilder is Ryan Reynolds. They are the same thing. They're all three interchangeable. It could have been Deadpool starring Van Wilder. That's how, yeah. But this is one of those instances where I was like, the sequel to me far exceeded the original.
And here's where I'll counterpoint you. So I do like Deadpool 2, but that movie feels a little messier to me than Deadpool 1. Deadpool 1 is such a pithy story. Like there's no fat on that story, I think. And because the thing I liked about Deadpool is the relationship between Wade and Vanessa. That was my favorite thing of the whole movie. And in 2, she gets fridged. Like they call it out. They call it out that she gets fridged, but she got fridged. For those that don't know, fridge is you kill somebody or you put somebody in a fridge, and that's the impetus for the hero to go out on their journey, right? And like in Thor: The Dark World, Thor's mom gets fridged. It's a common trope of killing off usually your female character, and then spurring the male. Not that I'm not trying to get to woke politics sort of thing. That's not what I'm trying to do there. But I was like, oh no, she's my favorite character, and now she's not there. Yes, Domino is awesome, and Josh Brolin as Cable is super awesome, but that relationship in the first Deadpool is what I connected to so much. So that the fact that it wasn't there, it hurt. Even though at the end of Deadpool 2, it comes back around. But hey, they're both great movies. I can't disagree.
I will say this. I have never fought to like a movie more than Deadpool.
Really?
I have seen Deadpool 2 3 or 4 times. I've seen Deadpool 1 more than 10 times. Because I try so hard and gotten so far, but in the end, doesn't really matter.
Nope.
No.
Unless you actually read, because I think I have a couple of comics of Deadpool that I think are really good that you should read that help introduce you to it. Because in one of the comics, he's like, all right, for the next panels, go ahead and listen into, I think it was Pantera. Oh God, I should know this song because I love it so much. It was like turn on a Pantera song, and then you read. If you read it at a correct pace, which I'm a little bit slower, you'll read through the hell 5 minutes in hell or something like that. I forget what it is, but like if you read the comic strips, by the time the song finishes, the strip finishes, and so you get this super meta-ness that is Deadpool. And you're right, he does have a lot of very kind of weird timing jokes, but that's because he understands that we're out there and he's in a movie, and it makes it odd. I know it's weird.
Landing.
Yeah. Superhero landing.
All right, Jared, your number 2 pick, sir.
I'm gonna say the number 2 pick, and then we're just gonna jump into my number 1 pick because we've already talked about number 2.
Okay, well let's do this first then, because before we even get to everybody's number 1, is there an honorable mention?
Okay.
Do you have an honorable mention?
Yeah.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'll go number 2 and then my honorable mention.
Cool.
Number 2 is 300. We've talked about the man meat that is Gerard Butler. Love the dude. And enough said. My honorable mention, and it's just because it was such a bad movie for me that it makes it such a great movie, is Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I could not finish the movie at all. I couldn't even put it on as it didn't survive being put on as background music. But Nicolas Cage was so bad that I thought in that movie, I was like, yeah, go for it. It's you tried. Good job. You tried.
Yeah.
That movie knows what it is. The first one knows what it is perfectly.
Yeah. Stephanie, what's your honorable mention?
My honorable mention, see, I've got a couple that I could think of. These are, I don't know if I call them honorable mentions, but these are films that I didn't realize were based on comic books. The first one is 1994's Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Really?
comic. That's
Didn't
based on
know
the
that
comic.
either.
As based on
Okay.
a comic book movie, or based on a comic book. Yeah, it's interesting to know that. Another honorable mention movie I did not know was based on a comic is 1985's Weird Science. That is based on a comic book as well.
Didn't
Yeah.
they summon like a supermodel actress in that movie?
Yeah.
Kelly
Yeah, okay.
LeBrock.
Kelly
Hello, talk
LeBrock,
about
okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I remember the movie from my childhood.
heck. Well, that movie's also fun because Bill Paxton and Robert Downey Jr. in it as bullies. So
Yeah.
that's also a fun little, and Oingo Boingo is that awesome
Yeah.
soundtrack. Oh man, so good.
When they turned Chet into a pile of shit. Oh,
they sure
that
did.
was hilarious.
Big pile of shit. But my real honorable mention would be 2014's Snowpiercer. I think that movie is a great movie.
That's right.
Yeah, that is based on a comic book and a graphic novel as well. Chris Evans, Ed Harris, John Hurt, Tilda Swinton, Octavia Spencer, an amazing cast. The whole journey through the train, the social commentary going on in the train.
Yeah.
Mwah.
I forgot about that.
Oh, great movie. Great movie. My honorable mention, it just popped in my head when before we got started here. Wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Angelina Jolie.
an amazing fan. I became an Angelina Jolie fan because of that movie, and then that made me want to go see other things that she had done. Not
It wasn't
too big of a
Hackers?
fan, huh?
It wasn't Hackers that sold you on her?
It was not. It was not. It was Wanted and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Those are those two really. I don't think there's really any other. No, gone in 60 seconds.
That's good. I was thinking the one with her and Antonio Banderas, where they're like lovers but fighting the whole time. I forget the name of that movie. A lot of sex scenes in that movie.
I don't know. I have to check it out.
Weird.
I sold you on it. Sex scenes.
Yeah, you said 6. What?
Mm-hmm.
All right, your number one pick, Jared. What is it?
I've had a number one movie for a very, very long time, and then I saw this one.
Oh, so this is your overall number one.
This is now my favorite overall movie movie series now.
Okay.
And I'm really excited for the third installment to come out, the Kingsman series.
Very nice.
I like how stupid meta it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the end of it, he's just like, this ain't that kind of movie, bruv. And you're like, yeah, that's all right, cool. Because the entire time they're talking about like the 007s, the cheesy ass comics, and they keep referencing how it's that type of movie, and then he goes off and has butt sex with a princess.
Yeah.
Oh, see, yeah, that was the only part in the movie where I'm like, but then I'm like, I had to take a step back with that movie, because when I first saw it, the whole Colin Firth scene in the church and the amazing use of is it Led Zeppelin, I think, in that scene.
Skinner.
What is it?
Freebird, Skinner.
Oh, that's right, Skinner. Sorry, not yeah, my bad. Sorry, musician shame. But the first time I saw that movie, I was like, oh, what is this movie? But you're right. If you go back and think about the Bond mythos, right? That's the thing I hate about Bond movies too. At the end, like, why does she got to have sex with him at the end? But they're making fun of that. Like, you can have sex. It's so weird.
I just love how it wasn't a build up to the romantic chemistry or anything like that. It's like, oh, if you let me out, I'll let you. Yeah, I know it sounds so derogatory now. I'm wanting to say it, but like, it's just like, I mean, he's just like, okay, yeah, I'll go save the world for that. It's like, I mean, dude, you're pretty hot as it is, man. I think you can find that anywhere, I don't know. And then the second one was just kind of a nice little extra add. I don't know. It was so meta to me. It was just dope. And I'm a fan of the Brits. So there we go.
Elton John was amazing in that movie.
Oh, I love that man too.
Sofia Boutella in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh man, the lady with the blades on her feet. Sorry for Jared, he doesn't know the actors' names, but
I thought that's who you're referencing.
Yeah, man, she's awesome.
I thought she should have been the main villain. She was hardcore. She was hardcore. I wouldn't have. No.
The main villain was Sam Jackson's lisp.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was funny. Well, it was funny because like he actually has a lisp. Like that was like, I don't think that was him. Well, maybe it was him acting his lisp, but he used to have one from the beginning. I was like, oh, so you brought it back. But I don't know. Everyone complimented everyone. It was just a nice meta commentary, I guess, is the right phrase.
Awesome action.
All right, Stephanie, your number one pick.
Alrighty, so my number one pick is in DC, and it is the very first film that, not to age myself, but it's the very first film that I saw in a theater with my mom. And of course, I'm Minneapolis, so I got to represent a movie that has Prince as the soundtrack. This is 1989's Batman. This movie is perfection to me. Just think about da 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 da.
Yeah.
Just the beautifulness of that Batman theme. Jack Nicholson, that performance. Every time I watch that movie, his performance, I find another little shade, another little layer to how he does the Joker. The manic mania that he is in his head. The whole scene where he's spray painting artwork and meets Kim Basinger, and just the fear, but also that he's just such a clown about it. Man, that movie is so good every time I watch it. And of course, Michael Keaton. I mean, talk about people that were, derided as being cast in a role. Ben Affleck was given a lot of crap when he was cast as Batman. Heath Ledger was given crap when he was cast as the Joker. People were like, Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom, is going to be Batman, right? Not to age myself again, and he's such a perfect brooding. He looks so good in a turtleneck. Oh my God,
I forgot about the turtleneck.
The turtlenecks, man. He was rocking so many turtlenecks. And of course, because he is no longer with us, the Prince soundtrack, Bat Dance, the whole parade scene.
With a smile.
Man.
Yeah.
That movie is just so freaking good. And like I said, it's the first movie I ever saw. I got to see in the theaters thanks to my mom, who's super cool. So mine would be Batman 89.
And we get to see him again in The Flash.
I know. I'm
so excited about that.
I'm going to freak out when I see him.
Can't stop thinking about turtlenecks now.
Just about turtlenecks. Yeah.
I just want one.
Yeah. Rock a turtleneck and a chain.
Amazon, order me a turtleneck.
All right, we are going to finish things up with my number one pick. Another movie that is probably in my top 5. Yeah. It is, I think my Watchmen 300, Kick-Ass, Justice League, Unbreakable Mask. It is my only Marvel movie on this list. I would put Endgame as one of my favorite movies, if not favorite movie overall. But it's like when you ask about a musician's discography. Mm-hmm. Avengers is the greatest hits to me.
Sure.
Incredible Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, their movies on its own are the albums. Avenger movies are greatest hits. So you could say, sure, an Avengers movie can be a greatest hits, and that's no flack on you and your pick. But as a standalone movie, to me, this is the best Marvel movie, in my opinion, and that is Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, hard to argue with that. That's a great movie. Robert Redford.
Yeah.
How great is he?
I have a large man crush on Sebastian Stan. He's just an awesome actor. Anthony Mackie as Falcon. The beginning of that relationship between the two of them, and then it carries over into Civil War. Even better. Just the whole, even in Civil War, can you move your seat up? Nope. Just great. But yeah, going from where they went in the first Avenger to the Winter Soldier, the relationship between Bucky and Cap, just a great movie. That is my number one. Captain America: Winter Soldier. Great overall movie.
That whole sequence of On Your Left, yeah, you wouldn't have. Yeah, that's why it made me cry in Endgame, was that whole sequence from Winter Soldier. Just the idea of On Your Left, right, and the fact that Sam's always going to be on his left. I mean, something like Jared, being in the military, the idea of these military guys and what it really means to have somebody's back. Yeah. And what Cap really has Bucky's back, and the fact that he does it again in Civil War, just no, I believe in you, Bucky. Come, you're the only person that was there for me when I was a little tiny person, and I'm gonna do that for you. Oh man,
And to
great
hear-
choice.
Yeah, and then in going into that relationship that they had in that movie, taking it in the Civil War, the whole like he was my friend, and he was like, so was I. Like the conflict between Tony and Steve, and with Bucky, and just yeah,
Winter Soldier.
just a love-hate triangle between them all. Yeah, very very nice.
A big announcement for Joe and Anthony Russo as great directors.
Yeah.
The Community guys are going to do a 70s political thriller. Like, really?
Nice.
Man, did they deliver.
They did. They did. Absolutely. Yeah. Thoughts on our list here? We covered a lot of different stuff, from
That's fun.
finding out time conflicts.
Isn't that fun to learn? I was like, are you kidding me? Really?
Men in Black, The Rocketeer, The League of
I was
Extraordinary
surprised.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, because I didn't. I think it was like Tuesday night. I didn't know. I was like, okay, I got to find out what I'm doing. I was like, all right, comic book movies. And I was like, wait, what? That was a comic book movie? I love that. All right. And then my list went from like 5 to like 30. I was like, all right, let's slow it down, Jared. Let's slow it down.
Yeah. That was my legal pad was just like, and I was like, well, let me rate this a 5-star, a 4-star. It came together pretty quick though. But yeah. That's going to do it. That is our show, everybody. I want to thank my new team, Stephanie, Jared, I should say our new team, the new SNH crew. Be sure to check us out each and every Friday on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Head on over to Instagram. Be sure to check us out there at SNHPOD, SNH Pod. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. But it's never updated because I really could care less about Facebook and Twitter.
Well, that's why you brought a girl onto the team, so I'll take your socials.
Alrighty. I do love my Instagram. I really do. Yeah, so until next week, I have been Dash.
I have been Steph.
I'm Jared in the flock.
Jared in the flock.
We are Shorts and Hoodies. Thank you, everybody. We will see you next week.
Happy
Peace.
Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
Cut the check.